This is my review of the 2021 movie Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe Origins. Now, I was fortunate enough to see this on Amazon Prime because it's available on there. So I watched it. So I'll give my verdict on the movie, but I'll give you a little premise of the movie now. Most people are aware, obviously, there were two G.I. Joe movies. Now, although this is G.I. Joe's, the continuity isn't connected to the two previous movies, so although it is an origin story, but obviously it focuses on the story of Snake Eyes. Now, the basic story is that as a young boy, he witnesses his father being murdered by a assailant, and then he managed to escape. So now, a few years later, he's all grown up, and obviously wanted to seek vengeance for the killer of his father. He's offered a job, and then he ends up saving someone else's life, and then the guy owes a blood debt. So then the story movie basically becomes about loyalty, family, not necessarily blood family, and also vengeance because of his father. There is a twist with the actual movie, which I won't spoil in case people want to kind of watch it. But what I will say is that for me is that when I first started watching it, and then obviously I knew about the movie before because I watched the trailers before. The movie for me had a lot of potential, but unfortunately, for me, the film was a bit of a letdown. Now, the action set pieces in the movie are actually very, very good, and especially in the parts of the film where it's set in Japan, where I've always been fascinated with the Japanese culture, and one day I would love to go there myself. One day to visit the place, and especially when they have picked of parts of Japan, especially the older parts of it, where obviously where it kind of looks, the cinematography of it looks really great. And then also, especially when they have some parts of it where it's all raining, it's just the kind of like this Blade Runner kind of a look. Because obviously, if you could watch Blade Runner, the one with Harrison Ford, it does have this Japanese kind of a look to it. So you can see kind of the influences with that particular with that movie. So I loved that part of it. And I also like the actors and the actresses that they've got in the roles, in each of the roles. And then obviously that's pretty much it really. Now, where the film was a huge disappointment is, first of all, is that the lead character, Snake Eyes. Now, this isn't necessarily to do with the actor himself. To me, it's to do with the writing. Basically, in a nutshell, they've made the character out to be a complete arsehole, which is kind of a bit of a disappointment. And so you're supposed to be rooting for the hero of the story. Now, there's nothing wrong, like if the character's being the dick, or doesn't kind of believe himself, and obviously by the end of the film, the character finds his humanity, or and then realizes the potential of what the character ends up wanted to be. But the problem that I had is that you end up feeling like that the character, basically, although you got the villains of the story, it kind of plays out as if the main character is the actual villain. And then the thing is, you don't find a character charismatic. One way to describe it is that the character is just basically unlikable, which is, for me, which was a bit of a kind of a turn off with the character. And especially, as I won't spoil, that the character, that all the things that end up, all the consequences, but all the stuff that end up transpires by the middle and the end of the movie, it's all basically caused by the actual hero of the actual movie, which is kind of absolutely stupid. So it's basically all his fault, what happens, and then the cause and effect that it does on the other characters in the movie, or what ends up happening to those particular characters, which I won't spoil. So for me, this is what I mean by about that. the character is basically ends up becoming an asshole, a dick, and he's kind of very unlikable because he's just not being, because he's just not a very good character. So that's not what you kind of expect from a lead character of a particular movie. I mean, you're not kind of expecting, you're expecting growth and getting to know that character, and then seeing the character grow into the hero, or the potential of what he or she is supposed to be. So as I said, the character is just really unlikable, and so those of you who may have seen it or might see it, if you ever own it or you've got it on a streaming service, if you watch it, you'll see exactly what I mean, but without me kind of giving away too much about that particular character. But it's just, I don't know, it was just kind of annoying. Then there's this stupid thing where they seem to be doing with the filming of the movie, of the movie, where they just seem to be shaking the camera a lot when it comes to the action. So it's just jumping around, and or I like to call it shaky cam, with the actual filming of the film. And even when a character is walking, you're like walking with one particular female character who is well known in the G.I. Joe series. Even that character is even when she's just walking, you're seeing the camera just jumping around and zooming in, zooming back out again, and as if somebody's just dropping the camera. Obviously, I mean, I could almost say it's almost like to the way I hold my camera. Whereas when you're watching a film, you expect it to be a little bit more. You expect it to be professional if you're doing a big cinema release with a movie. But the camera was just shaking and jumping all over the place, and I don't know what it was that they were trying to achieve out of the movie, but and then it doesn't feel like, I don't know. I know I've read some reviews where people have said it doesn't feel like a G.I. Joe movie, which I don't know what a G.I. Joe movie is supposed to be like, because obviously we know that this was based off of a cartoon made by Hasbro, so it's kind of difficult to say what what a G.I. Joe movie is supposed to be like. So as I said, I was expecting big things, because obviously, as I said before, I've seen the trailers of it, and then this is a really dumb thing. There's even a bit in like the trailer, because obviously there's been several of them, where it actually shows the actual ending of the movie in the actual trailer, which I don't know why. I mean, I know at the end of the day, it's not the directors that actually edit the trailers down, and the whole point of a trailer is to sell the movie, so people go out and see it. So it's a hard balance where you want to sell the movie, but at the same time you don't want to spoil too much of the movie, because then people won't go out and watch it. But it's this bad trope where they're showing like the end of the movie in the actual trailer, in the actual trailer, which is again, I find stupid. This is why I know some people complain and say, they want to see more in the trailer, but sometimes you don't want to see too much because it will give away too much of the movie. Or sometimes they don't show that particular scene in the movie, or you'll see something the way something is edited in the actual trailer, but the actual contents and the connotation of it in the actual movie, once you watch it, are different to how you expect to see it from the trailer to the actual movie. So that's fine, because you don't know what the context of what's going on with that particular scene from actually seeing the full-blown scene in the actual movie. So that's fine when they do that with trailers. But for me, it was a disappointment, considering, as we know, that the G.I. Joe series from the animated series it's a big franchise, and obviously the stuff they do with ninjas and stuff, where obviously we've seen, obviously I know this is slightly different comparison, but when you got games like, say, Ghost of Tsushima on the PlayStation, and for me, or The Last Samurai, where for me, I'm fascinated by the samurai and ninja culture of Japan, and also, and then even with the Wolverine, where they set that in Japan, I found things like that in the ancient culture of like Japan all that fascinating. So I was expecting kind of big things from this movie. So you know what I mean. So I'm only glad that I was able, you know, it was available to watch on Amazon Prime, so I didn't have to sit there and go out and pay for it. Maybe, just maybe, if it was really dirt cheap, maybe I would pick it up. But at a full price, I don't think I would. But as I said before, for me, the movie had full of potential, but for me, it just was a bit of a letdown for me in my personal opinion. Maybe there's some people out there who are bigger G.I. Joe fans or of the action genre and they enjoyed it. But as I said before, the biggest problems with the movie for me were, as I said before, the unlikable character, and then he's the cause of all the problems in the movie of what transpires and what he ends up doing to certain ruining certain characters or turning them a certain way. So he's at fault for it. And I think that's the point that's the thing of it for me that I couldn't shake, and my issues with the actual movie, and then obviously with the shaky cam thing. So, but more so to do with the lead character. Again, not the actor himself, but for me, the character structure of the main hero. I mean, he's just, for me, just really, really unlikable. And so, you know what I mean? Like, let me know in the comment section if you've seen that the Snake Eyes movie, and whether or not you agree with me, or you maybe disagree with me in my views or what I thought of the actual movie. Again, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, although, you know, it did rub me up the wrong way. I don't like spoiling films, even if they're recent or even if they're old. I don't like them kind of spoiling stuff. So it's that choice of whether or not if you want to watch it or not, or maybe you already have. So that's my review of Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins, or it's just called some territories. It's just called Snake Eyes, and obviously it didn't. The ratings, it got multi-negative, obviously reviews from what I've checked, and at the box office it didn't do too well either. And I think some of the problems I had of it, because I checked the reviews after I watched it, pretty much said what I said. So I always like to watch a thing first and then read up on what people think, even if, because you may disagree or agree with it. But it didn't do too well in the cinema. Basically cinema bombed, so didn't do very well. So I doubt there'll probably be another one. And if they'd done it right, I really would have looked forward to have seen a sequel if they'd done it properly. And you know what I mean. So it's it's kind of a real shame that they couldn't have potentially, because the Snake Eyes is a very good character if you've known him from the comics, or especially obviously the animated series. So as I said before, it's a huge disappointment. Anyway, I hope people enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and to share. That also helps some people find me and my channel on YouTube, because obviously I'm a small-time YouTuber, so I'm not one outside the YouTube algorithm. And if you already haven't, feel free to subscribe as well. And let me know if you want to see more movie reviews, and I'll probably end up doing a little bit more of them. So take care, bye for now, and stay safe.